back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got every dark moment in NFL explained in 23 minutes. Let's check this out.
The NFL is a machine, fast, violent, glamorous. But behind the touchdowns and billion-dollar broadcasts, there's a darker side.
That's
side
facts.
built on silence, scandal.
I need dark side sports to make some more videos,
From murder
bro.
charges to brain trauma, from domestic violence cover-ups to cultural firestorms. These are the stories the league hopes you forget. But fans remember, players remember, and history never forgets. This isn't about bad games. It's about broken lives. This is the side of football, no highlight reel shows. Aaron Hernandez, a superstar turned killer. Aaron Hernandez was supposed to be a star.
That nigga he was killing on and off the field.
Patriots in 2010. He was fast, explosive, and looked like
him and
Gronk
Gronk could have real deal been the craziest duo of all time, bro.
He grew up in Bristol, Connecticut, and while he made it to the NFL, the streets never left him. He was living two lives. A former
he had
teammate
CTE
said, one in the NFL
early in his career,
and one with the gangs. In 2013, everything came crashing down. Odin Lloyd, a semi-pro football player and Hernandez's friend, was found dead, shot multiple times in an industrial park near Hernandez's home. Within days, Hernandez was arrested for murder. A tight end for the league's most buttoned-up team, now in handcuffs, on national TV. The Patriots cut him immediately. The trial that followed showed a man spiraling, paranoid, reckless, and violent. He was eventually convicted. But then, in 2017, just days after being acquitted in a separate double homicide case, Hernandez took his own life in prison. Inside his brain, researchers found one of the worst cases of CTE ever seen in someone so young. It changed everything. This wasn't just a killer, one doctor said. This was a man whose brain was crumbling. The NFL never said much. No tribute, no public address, just silence. And that silence led us to the next moment.
I mean, can you blame them though, bro? He took two lives, you know what I'm saying? So you can't blame the NFL for, you know, not giving bro a tribute. You know what I'm saying? So like
the Ray Rice elevator video.
Oh boy.
Before the clip, Ray Rice was a Pro Bowl running back. After the clip, he was out of football forever.
I mean,
shit, 2014,
still one of the best Ravens of all time, but
Rice dragging his
this situation really ruined his career.
Out of an elevator in an Atlantic City casino. The NFL saw it, gave him a
I think they still together to this day, right?
On, but the public didn't. Then came the second video, the full one, showing Rice punching her in the face, knocking her out cold.
God,
that's when everything
damn, that nigga hit her so hard she knocked out her shoe. What the fuck?
Exploded. This changes everything.
Oh my
One analyst said on air, sponsors pulled out. Fans were furious. The NFL scrambled. Roger Goodell claimed they hadn't seen the full video, but no one believed him. Rice never played another down. The league was forced to overhaul its domestic violence policy. Counseling, education programs, longer suspensions. All of it came too late. For many fans, that moment broke the trust, and it proved something else.
They used to call me Ray Rice in elementary school. Not for that reason though.
A new kind of NFL scandal started. One where the violence didn't just happen off the field, but far beyond football. O.J. Simpson, fame, football, and a murder trial. O.J. Simpson wasn't just
I still think he did it, bro.
He was a celebrity, a Heisman winner, 2,000-yard rusher, movie actor, and pitchman. But in 1994, that all turned into a media nightmare. The murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman stunned the country. The police chased O.J. down the freeway in a white Bronco.
Yeah, because like if he didn't do it, why was he trying to get away?
People watched it unfold. It was like
95 mil was crazy.
Crime. A reporter said later, the trial was even bigger. Every day, Americans tuned in. DNA, gloves, race, police corruption. It was all on display. When the verdict came, not guilty. The country split in two. O.J. was a free man, but not really. He became a public punchline, hounded by lawsuits, and later served time for armed robbery in Las Vegas.
Damn.
The NFL didn't retire his name, but they didn't honor it either. Erasure. The O.J. case showed the ugly collision of fame, race, violence, and football. And the NFL just kept walking, like it never happened. But years before O.J., there was another player who fell hard. Not from violence, but from something simpler. Addiction. Art Schlichter, the quarterback who couldn't stop gambling. Art Schlichter was supposed to be the Colts franchise quarterback.
It's my first time hearing about,
bro. They picked him 4th overall in 1982. Big arm, clean look, ready for the spotlight. But he had one problem. He couldn't stop gambling. Even before his rookie season, he was placing bets with bookies. By year 2, he was over $700,000 in debt. He
Damn.
started throwing games
That was a
in the
lot back
USFL
then. I mean,
just
it's
to pay
kind of
it
a lot
off.
now,
He was
but
chasing losses from
that was
the
like
day he
millions
got
of dollars
drafted,
back then,
said
bro.
one coach. The league suspended him, then reinstated him, then suspended him again. It never stopped. He lost everything. His money, his marriage, his career. Eventually, he was arrested for fraud.
Of course he was.
And by the time it was over, he'd spent more time in jail than on the field. His downfall
Just
was
let
so
the-
big,
bro,
the NFL...
Just let the hair go, gang. You going to jail, you know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and shave the rest of this off, bro. You got the George Jefferson special, bro. Yo, appreciate that sub. But yeah, bro, like you got the George Jefferson special, bro. Just go ahead and cut the rest of that off, gang.
NFL rewrote its gambling policies, but even now, with legal betting booming, his story hangs over it all like a warning. And years later, when a wide receiver came along with once-in-a-decade talent and his own demons, we saw how addiction still haunts this league. Josh Gordon, talent versus temptation.
He just could
Josh
never
Gordon
stop
was
smoking
different.
weed,
He
bro.
could fly. He had one of the best seasons a wide receiver ever had, and he did it while missing the first 2 games. In 2013, he led the NFL in receiving yards, but he was already suspended. Weed, alcohol, missed tests, the list never stopped. It was never about partying, Gordon once said. It was a sickness, and it was killing me. The NFL kept suspending him. 1 year, then another, then again. 7 separate times he tried to come back. And every time, the headlines were the same. Josh Gordon reinstated. Josh Gordon suspended. Fans were torn. Some saw wasted potential. Others saw a man struggling with real addiction, getting punished
I think
over
it was
and
that
over
part,
instead
bro.
of helped. And through it all, Gordon never quit. He kept trying, kept training, kept hoping. His career became a ghost story, a reminder that sometimes talent isn't enough, not in a league like this. And what happens when that same league rewards hurting others?
Ain't calling Flash Gordon for no
but
reason.
with cash. That's where we go next. Bountygate. When injuries were incentivized for years.
And like, bro,
NFL
I feel like
players talked
the
about
Saints still paying the price for this scandal, bro. Like, I don't think the Saints, like, honestly, I don't think they gonna win anything anytime soon, bro. Cause this whole situation was just crazy.
Through pain, but in New Orleans, pain became profit. In 2012, the league dropped a bomb. Saints coaches and players had been running a bounty system, paying cash bonuses for injuring opponents. Knock a guy out, that's a reward. Tear a guy's ACL, extra payout. Kill the head, and the body will die. Defensive coordinator
And speaking of bounties, I don't know if this 100% true, but I heard that CJ Gardner-Johnson put a bounty out on, put a hit out on Malik Neighbors, bro. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, bitches be lying and shit. But yeah, y'all let me know if y'all think it's true or not. I really don't know, you know what I'm saying? Because females, they do be lying for attention and stuff now, so I don't know.
That later leaked. It sounded like something from a war movie, but this was real, and it was football. The fallout was instant. Head coach Sean Payton got suspended for a year. Players like Jonathan Vilma were banned. Williams himself was blacklisted for a season. But fans were divided. Some said it was just part of the game. Others were horrified. The NFL tried to use Bountygate as proof they were serious about cleaning up violence, but it rang hollow. This was the same league that sold DVDs called Big Hits Volume 3, the same league that turned blind eyes for decades. Bountygate tainted the Saints' legacy forever. One moment, they were Super Bowl heroes. The next, villains. And it showed just how deep the culture ran. Not just win at all costs, but hurt at all costs. And if that culture could justify injury, it could also justify silence. The next man up didn't hurt anyone, he just knelt. And that was enough to erase him. Colin Kaepernick.
They wrong for blackballing my nigga from the league, man.
Game, Colin Kaepernick did something that would change his life and the NFL forever. He didn't stand for the national anthem. He sat at first, then knelt. Not for attention, not to disrespect the military. He did it in protest of police brutality and racial injustice. I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. He said, it wasn't loud, it wasn't staged, it was personal, but it became national. What started as a silent act sparked an all-out firestorm. Some fans booed, others burned his jersey. TV
come on now.
Politicians called him a disgrace.
And them jerseys ain't cheap.
The president said, get that son of a bitch off the field. And the league, they froze. Teams said he was too controversial. Some claimed he was a distraction, but nobody questioned his talent. Not honestly. This was a quarterback who threw for over 300 yards in a Super Bowl, who nearly beat the Ravens in one of the most electric comebacks in Super Bowl history.
Yeah, that comeback should have never happened.
And years
honestly,
in the tank.
Should have
but none of that
beat
mattered.
the brakes off them
He crossed
niggas.
the line. Not one written in any playbook, but one written in the invisible rulebook of acceptable controversy. The next offseason, no one signed him. Then another. Then another. Am I being blackballed? He asked. Absolutely. The league denied it. They said he didn't fit schemes. Said he wasn't worth the media attention, but fans saw through it. So did players.
Well, he
Eric
wasn't worth
Reed,
the media
his
attention,
teammate,
but now you got Shador Sanders coming into the league now.
who knelt beside him,
Crazy.
got the same treatment. Other players got chances after arrests, after violence, after scandals.
Nah, for you got
He
niggas
never got
catching
another
bodies.
In 2020,
and still coming back to
after
the
George
NFL.
Floyd's murder and nationwide
Crazy.
protests, the NFL tried to rewrite history. Roger Goodell recorded a video. We, the NFL, admit we were wrong, he said. We encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. But the apology came too late. Kaepernick hadn't played in 4 years. His prime was over. His name had become bigger than football, a symbol, a spark, a cultural litmus test. To some, he was a hero. To others, a villain. But to
It's
the league,
tough.
he was a PR problem they never really wanted to solve. What Cape's exile revealed was simple. It wasn't about ability. It was about optics. The NFL didn't fear bad behavior. They feared bad press. And speaking up, even silently, was the loudest noise of all. Colin lost everything, Reed said, for standing up or kneeling down for what was right. And that silence the league clung to, that desire to just move on, it can only hold for so long, because up next came a tragedy that no protest could have prevented. A story where recklessness met reality and a young life was
Henry
lost
Ruggs?
forever. The Henry Ruggs
Yep.
tragedy. Henry Ruggs was supposed to
I
be a
mean,
star.
I didn't
First
say
round
so
pick,
much about the
fastest
situation
40 time
already.
at the combine.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all
Vegas
know how I
loved it.
feel.
Fans were hyped.
I ain't gonna
But
say- I
one
ain't gonna
night
say too
in
much.
November 2021, everything changed forever. Ruggs got behind the wheel drunk. He was driving 156 miles per hour when he slammed into the back of a Toyota.
I just want to say this
23-year-old
though. Where the fuck was his friends? Like, honestly, if you were a true friend to this nigga, you would take his keys, either drive him home if you didn't drink, or call him a Uber. Like, honestly, bro. Like, this whole situation could have been prevented if somebody would have took this nigga keys. Like, bruh.
Tina Tintor and her dog. The
R.I.P.
car
to both
burst
of
into
them, bro.
flames. She never made it out. The video of the crash site was haunting. Ruggs sat on the curb sobbing. His girlfriend was injured next to him. His career was over in an instant. This isn't just a football story. One analyst said, this is a life story. The Raiders cut him within hours. Fans were stunned. How could something so preventable, so stupid, destroy so many lives?
That's what
It forced
happens
a
when,
conversation
you know what I'm
the
saying,
NFL never wants to have.
young
about
people
alcohol,
get, you know what I'm saying,
about
get paid big
accountability,
bucks and shit.
about culture,
They start
about the
doing
bubble
stupid
these players
things.
live in. Ruggs was 22. Nobody stopped him. And now, a young woman was dead. The league moved on quickly, but the scars are still there. And when COVID hit, we saw a different kind of irresponsibility. Not just from players, but from the league itself. Fake vax cards and COVID chaos.
I remember this.
2021 was supposed to be the NFL.
But I ain't gonna lie, this was probably the most ticky-tacky shit ever. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I think AB was involved in this. I forgot who else, but AB was the biggest one
Returned to
involved in
normal.
this
Stadiums full.
this thing.
Games back on schedule. But behind closed doors, it was chaos because not everyone was telling the truth. Antonio Brown, among others, was suspended
Bro.
for submitting a fake vaccination card. Yes, a fake vax card in the NFL. It's
How
a
the
high
fuck
school
did he
level
even
fraud,
get that?
One reporter said.
Honestly.
Brown's suspension lasted 3 games. Others got the same. But players and fans noticed something. Stars were treated differently than backups. Some got cut quietly. Others kept starting on Sundays. The NFL's COVID policy felt like a tightrope. One step for the press, another behind the scenes. Players were being tested constantly, forced into protocols. But if you were a starter, there was leeway, a wink, a nod. And when outbreaks happened, games got rescheduled, unless your team was at the bottom of the standings. Then you just took the loss. It was never about safety.
Wow.
It was
Bro.
about optics, and maybe no story exposed. That better than the one that came next. A tale of fame, and one bullet in the wrong place. The Plaxico Burress.
Oh, when he shot himself in the foot?
Was on top of the football world. In 2008, he had just caught the game-winning touchdown in Super Bowl 42. the play that ended the Patriots' perfect season. That one catch put him in NFL history forever. He was the hero in New York, the guy who sealed one of the biggest upsets ever. Fame, money, legacy. It was all right there in his hands. And then just a few months later, he shot himself, literally. It happened in November. Burress was at a Manhattan nightclub, dressed up, enjoying the night, but carrying a loaded, unlicensed Glock, 9mm in his waistband. The gun slipped. He reached for it. It discharged. A single shot fired straight into his thigh. Nobody else was hurt, but the fallout hit instantly. Within days, the media swarmed. The NYPD launched an investigation. Headlines went viral. Super Bowl star shoots himself. It didn't feel real. Not for fans, not for the Giants, not even for plaques. I made a horrible decision, he told the court. I was just trying to protect myself. But New York doesn't play around.
You gotta carry in New York,
especially
bro.
Not after what happened
I don't blame
in that club. Burress was charged with criminal possession of a weapon and sentenced to 2 years in prison. He missed the rest of that season, then all of the next one. 2 years of his prime, gone. When he came back, it wasn't the same. The Giants had moved on. The league had moved on. He signed with the Jets, then the Steelers. But
out
the
of
magic
all
was
teams,
gone.
bro,
The confidence, the
Jets.
spark. Whatever he had during that Super Bowl run, it never really came back. Fans were stunned. One moment, he was leaping in the end zone. The next, he was in an orange jumpsuit. How does a player go from hero to felon that fast? But Burress' story wasn't just about gun safety. It was about pressure, fame, the decisions athletes make when no one's watching. It was about ego and fear, about trying to be bulletproof in a world where everyone's aiming at you. For Plaxico, that bullet was self-inflicted, and it cost him his career. Even now, his name doesn't come up in highlight reels or legacy lists the way it should, not because of what he did on the field, but because of what happened off it. The NFL didn't go to bat for him. They didn't put out statements. They didn't offer support. They quietly distanced themselves. Because when you embarrass the league, even by accident, the silence gets loud. And that silence, it can swallow a whole
They could lose a
franchise.
lot of money.
Which brings us to Washington, a team whose scandals made Burress' mistake look like a
Dan
footnote.
Snyder.
A team that didn't just fumble a moment. They fumbled an entire era. The Washington Commanders scandals. The Washington football team, now the Commanders, used to mean something in the NFL. 3 Super Bowls, Hall of Famers, a legacy that stretched back to the days of Joe Gibbs and
They
John
need to
Lynch.
re-sign
But
Terry,
by the
bro.
2000s, it became
Like,
a punchline.
that's one thing I don't understand nowadays. When you're a superstar, you know what I'm saying, player, whether it's receiver, edge rusher, whatever, when it's time for them to get paid and you don't want to pay them, you're just gonna make it harder for yourself, bro. Because then the next person gonna get paid, and then that player gonna want to get paid more money. You know what I'm saying? So Commanders, y'all better pay Terry. Steelers better pay TJ Watt. Cowboys better pay Micah Parsons. Cause it's about to get real bad, bro. I'm keeping it a buck, bro. It's about to get real bad.
Not because of losses on.
Like, I don't understand why
but because of
organizations
what
like to
happened
wait that long.
behind
Bengals
closed
too.
doors.
Bengals
Dan
number
Snyder
one on the
bought
top of
the
that
team
list,
in
100%.
1999, a billionaire with zero football background and a
You got this
massive
weirdo.
ego. What followed was over 2 decades of chaos, terrible drafts, revolving
Like,
door head coaches.
What's up with niggas named Dan Snyder? Cause like the dude from Nickelodeon that used to produce the shows and shit, he was a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? Had crazy ass feet fetishes with the children and shit. That was disgusting. I'm gonna keep it a buck. And then you got this weirdo peeping in on cheerleaders and stuff. Like,
Public
oh
feuds
my
with legends
gosh.
like Brian Mitchell and even fan sites. It's like he was actively trying to destroy the franchise. One fan tweeted in 2020, but the real story wasn't just about football failure. It was about abuse of power. In 2020, a Washington Post investigation revealed years of sexual harassment and verbal abuse inside the team's offices. 15 women spoke out. Cheerleaders described trips where their passports were taken and topless photo shoots were secretly filmed. Executives made crude comments.
Like,
NDAs
bro,
were used like duct tape,
look at this
holding
weird
together
ass
a rotten structure. More reports followed. Emails surfaced, including messages between former GM Bruce Allen and John Gruden.
Yeah,
filled
didn't
with
John
racist
Gruden
and
leak the
misogynistic
emails?
Content. The NFL launched an
Bro.
internal review, but fans didn't.
Cause I remember
What
reacting
are
to a
they
video
hiding?
about that
A
last
congressional
year.
staffer asked during the House Oversight investigation. The answer? A lot. Even as Snyder denied wrongdoing, he began retreating from the spotlight. First a step back, then a sale. In 2023, he was finally gone, selling the team.
Yeah,
for
he
over
was
$6
Hitler
billion.
for them.
Fans didn't
They
celebrate.
didn't end up
wins,
going to
they
NC
celebrated
Championship,
an
so it was
exit,
definitely a
and what
Dan
was
Snyder
left
problem.
behind a broken franchise, a name no one wanted to say, and a message that power, unchecked, can rot anything from the inside out. But if Washington proved anything, it's that scandals don't end careers, not unless they go viral. And that takes us right into one of the league's most hypocritical stains, where the violence was clear, but the response was chaos. Ray McDonald, Greg Hardy, and the domestic violence.
That nigga Greg Hardy was on a different
drop,
level, boy.
The NFL swore it had learned its lesson. Zero tolerance, stronger policy.
I wonder if we'll see Joe Mixon in here.
Greg Hardy and Ray McDonald. And suddenly it felt like nothing had changed at all. Hardy, once an all-pro defensive end, was arrested and found guilty of assaulting his ex-girlfriend. The details were sickening, choking her, throwing her onto a futon covered in assault rifles, threatening to kill her. But on appeal, the case was dismissed when she didn't testify again. The Panthers,
because she was scared,
the
bro.
Signed him
like hold on, go back.
When she uncovered ex-girlfriend.
So you telling me she want to testify against a nigga who looked like this? I think the fuck not, nigga. Shit, I don't blame her. You know what I'm saying?
Sickening, choking,
I don't blame her.
Throwing her onto a futon covered in assault rifles, threatening to kill her. But on appeal, the case was dismissed when she didn't testify.
Her nose pointy as shit, though.
Cut him, and the Cowboys signed him like it was nothing. I'm just here so I don't get fined, Hardy told reporters with a smirk, channeling Marshawn Lynch.
Nigga think he Marshawn Lynch?
When police photos of his victim's bruises were leaked, the backlash exploded. And yet, he still played 12 games that season. Ray McDonald's story was just as disturbing. Accused multiple times of domestic violence and sexual assault, the 49ers stood by him until the headlines got too big. Even after being cut, the Bears gave him a shot, only to release him after another arrest. It's a pattern, one ESPN anchor said, and the league just keeps pretending it's isolated. Meanwhile, players like Josh Gordon were being suspended years at a time for substance abuse. The message was clear. The NFL cared more about optics than accountability. Talent was currency, and morality optional. It created a double standard that fans couldn't unsee. The league said it had protocols, counseling, investigators, but every time a big name got a pass, it reminded everyone that character concerns only mattered if you couldn't rush the passer, and that double standard, protecting violence, hiding damage, became literal when the next scandal broke, a truth buried inside players' skulls. And for years, the league swore it wasn't real. CTE and the concussion cover-up.
This
for
one
decades,
was huge.
Concussions were treated like scrapes. Shake it off, get back in. And the NFL leaned into it. Violence sold. Bone-crunching hits made highlight reels. Fans cheered. Coaches clapped. No one asked questions. Then came Mike Webster. Webster was a Hall of Fame center for the Steelers. By the time he died, he was living out of his truck, suffering from memory loss, aggression, and confusion. Dr. Bennett Omalu performed his autopsy. What he found was devastating. Brain deterioration that looked like Alzheimer's in a 50-year-old man. CT, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, caused by repeated head trauma. And the NFL wanted nothing to do with it. They tried to discredit Omalu, dismissed his findings, called him an outsider, even after more players showed the same symptoms. Terry Long, Andre Waters, the league's official position was denial. It took suicides to force their hand. Dave Duerson, Junior So, both left notes. Both shot themselves in the chest.
That Junior Seau
we had to literally die to prove it, one former player said bitterly. The NFL finally admitted the link in 2016. Sort of. They settled lawsuits, rolled out new protocols, spotters, concussion tents, rule changes, but the culture still slow to shift. Even today, players risk their futures every Sunday, and for many of them, the damage won't show until it's too late. But while the league was dodging signs,
I can just imagine how Tua's brain is gonna look after it's all said and done with, bro. Cause he be taking too many blows in the head, bro. He didn't have like what 4 or 5 concussions in the last 4 years.
And that contradiction led to one of the most bizarre modern controversies, where losing wasn't an accident. It was the plan, the tanking and gambling era. The NFL loves to say every game matters, but in 2022, that idea got turned inside out by one of their own. Brian Flores, former head coach of the Dolphins, filed a lawsuit that shook the league. He claimed team owner Stephen Ross offered him $100,000 for every loss. The goal.
Didn't he say they were being racist or something like that?
A franchise reboot at the cost of integrity.
I think it's some big ass ears.
Flores said, and when I didn't, they pushed me out. The league denied it, of course, but text.
Fuck you looking at me like I did it.
the case started gaining traction, and it opened the floodgates. Because at the exact same time, the NFL was swimming in gambling money. DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, betting booths in stadiums, odds on the scoreboard. Fans could now
get ready to see like 20,000 gambling commercials a game.
Then came Calvin Ridley.
They gonna be milking this shit.
Suspended
this
for betting
season.
$1,500 on games while injured. A full season, no pay. Meanwhile, owners and coaches were making gambling deals behind closed doors. You can own a team and run a sports book, one fan tweeted, but God forbid you place a parlay. It exposed a contradiction the league still hasn't solved. How can you punish players for gambling while profiting from it 24/7? And that leads to the final uncomfortable truth. The NFL has never been about justice. It's about image. And when that image cracks,
image
when the
and
shield
profit,
breaks, that's when the mask comes off. When the shield breaks, the NFL has always had a golden rule. Protect the shield, the logo, the brand, the illusion of control. But what happens when the cracks get too big to cover? Some players survive scandal, others disappear forever. There's no logic, just PR math. Josh Gordon, gone for weed. Eric Reed, blackballed for kneeling. Deshaun Watson, 20+ lawsuits. Still got $230 million.
And didn't bro just get married too? Like, bro, this nigga whole life is just weird as shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Talent buys forgiveness,
bruh.
One veteran said. But
he got an interesting ass life, bro. It's insane.
Got another job. Colin Kaepernick didn't. Ray Rice was out forever. Tyreek Hill got extended. The difference wasn't just performance. It was how loud the headlines got. When scandals break quietly, the NFL contains them. Press statements, suspensions, mandatory counseling. When they go viral, the league turns to damage control. It's why players walk on eggshells. Why teams hire crisis PR firms before they draft certain guys. Why character concerns have become a buzzword, not a concern. And it's why so many stories just vanish. Because the worst sin in the NFL isn't hurting someone, it's embarrassing the shield. Some moments end careers, others expose the system. But every scandal in this league leaves a mark on players, on fans, on the shield itself. Because in the NFL, the darkest moments don't happen under the lights. They happen when no one's supposed to be watching. And now, you've seen them all.
Wow, bro. That was what the fuck? That was a good ass video, bro. I'm not gonna lie. But hey, man, shit, I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Y'all let me know what other NFL videos I'm to react to. Without further ado, I'm out. Yeah.
I'm chosen. I'ma make them feel me. Make them people when they show me. And if you don't know me, I'ma make sure that you know me. I hate to say it, but I really think I'm broken. But I know I'm chosen. I really know I'm chosen. I know I'm chosen. I was just lost a year ago, but now I'm focused. When good at sports, this microphone can be my trophy. Not taking drugs, I found a better way of coping.